Houston in the home whites with the red numbers, and we're ready to go in the American from Houston, SMU, and the Houston Cougars. Kyle Meyer tipped it to Jere Foster, so SMU will get first possession with the ball. To Shake Milton, to Shemi Ojale, to a wide open Ben Moore. And Milton, Sterling Brown, Milton, 10 to shoot. Milton drives, Chicken Knowles beats him, ball knocked around. Shot clock violation, and its first defensive stand, a good one for Houston.
Well, excellent defense, giving SMU a little taste of their own medicine. Good pressure on the basketball, but very good help side positioning on the backside, and also Chicken Knowles, the rim protector.
And no question, the two players to watch for the Cougars wear numbers 32 and 21. 32, Rob Gray, 21, Damian Dotson. They combine for more than 50% of the scoring that the Cougars get.
A 1-2 punch. Dotson's going to set up in the corner, but he finds a way to get open off the bounce and off driving kicks.
Here's Knowles with the ball, 10 to shoot. Spins away from Ojale. Doesn't get the friendly roar with the rebound. Moore drives and feeds. Jere Foster, nice footwork, and the game to the Mustangs.
That's why SMU is so difficult to defend. They spread the floor, 5 out on the perimeter. Everybody handles the ball, go inside or out.
Kyle Meyer off the pick and roll to Dotson for 3. Got it!
Well, that's his spot. You better put his number right on that corner, deep corner of the floor, because Damian Dotson will lock and load from the corner.
6 consecutive 20-point games for Damian Dotson. Ojale, short for 3. With the rebound, here come the Cougars. Maybe they'll try and push the pace. Good defensive anticipation, but Gray picks up the loose ball, and Meyer follows.
Kyle Meyer showing a little oomph at the rim early in Houston.
Moore drives on Meyer, and a travel will be called.
Kyle Meyer's a guy who just kind of comes out. He sets a lot of screens. He plays good post defense, but he usually doesn't do this. But the extra effort at the rim as SMU turned their heads in, and Meyer went over the top.
Second turnover in the first 2+ minutes for the Mustangs. So a 3-point lead for the Cougars. Robinson inside to Meyer, back outside to Gray for 3. The American Conference leader in scoring is on the board.
Well, this was Tim Jankovich's fear that they were going to jump out early, but you thought it would be in transition, not in the half court. Houston really running their stuff against a set defense.
3 from Brown was short. Fight for the rebound. So Houston's way. Ben Moore called for the foul.
There's been a lot of buzz and energy around this campus and city about this game, and Kelvin Sampson's team has been sitting here for a week. They've had a week off to think and get ready for this game. They're healthy, they're focused, the building's alive, so SMU's going to have to take Houston's best punch today.
And right now that punch is a straight 8-0 run for the Cougars. Here's Dotson. Inside to Meyer, back outside to Gray. He pulls up. A little short. Meyer tapped the rebound up. Ball still loose. Shake down with it for the Mustangs. And Moore outside. Jere Foster, no for 3. Rebound, Cougars run. There'll be 2.
That's what Rob Gray does, Alan. He's on the backside of the defense, and if you keep backing up, he will lock and load from the top. That time he didn't get the 3, but he is so good in transition with body control after pushing the pace.
Ben Moore, the rebound on the miss. Milton for 3. That won't go. 7 shooting for the Mustangs early in the game. Gray, short, gets his own rebound. And he'll bring it back out and reset.
Well, just another day for Rob Gray. It's like he's playing in the playground. He just loves to play the game. He's just Plays it in a fun, up-tempo way, more under control this season for Kelvin Sampson.
Gray into Meyer. He'll work against Ojale. Robinson. Shot clock at 5. Galen Robinson outside to Gray. Over Milton. No, short. It'll be out about Houston and SMU's ball when we come back.
Well, the man who will control the pace for Houston is out of the gates very quickly, and he'll push it, and then just pops from the top. Rob Gray has Houston energized early.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Skittles. Taste the rainbow.
Houston with a 10-0 run after SMU scored the first points of the game, and it's 10-2 Cougars at the first media timeout. Alan Bestwood coach Tim Welsh here. We knew this was going to be a good game. Two teams on hot streaks coming in. Let's talk about the Cougars. They've won 5 straight, and they're off to a good start here.
Well, Damian Dotson, his play as of late has been all-world as far as definitely first team all-league. And today, no different, but Rob Gray is really the guy who's going to push the pace for Houston. And coming into this game, we thought that Houston would have to run on SMU in order to score, but not so much early. They're doing a good job in the half court running their stuff. They're going inside out. They're not forcing the issue, but more impressive for Houston has been their defense in the half court, really making SMU kind of doing what SMU makes people do, take contested jump shots from the perimeter.
When we met with Kelvin Sampson at practice yesterday, he likes team is playing coming down the stretch of the season. And as a coach, isn't that what you want? You want your team to be playing its best ball of the year as it's getting ready for tournament time.
Well, they're whole now, and the play of Dotson has been elevated, but also Devin Davis is in the game now. It gives him another forward inside who is tough, physical, and can match Ben Moore and Shemi Ojale up front.
Now Davis in the game and quickly gets his first foul. Sorry, Tim.
He's fought injuries, as we know, all season long and did not play in the first game. But it's a big piece for Houston because they don't have anybody else like him. Chicken Nose is more of a face-up forward. Davis is more of a power guy around the basket.
SMU 0 for its last 4 field goal attempts. Ray Foster will get fouled on the floor by Rob Gray. You know, we talked about Davis being into the game, and then he gets that quick foul. Fouls for the big man have been a problem for Houston. If you look, Davis, Kali, Meyer, Chicken Knowles, they've all fouled out of games. And against Tulsa, when we had them last Saturday, all 4 had 4 fouls and had to spend time on the bench.
Well, the tendency for Houston in a game like this is maybe to be a little bit too amped up, so they got to be careful. They just got to be solid in the half court against such a really good precision offensive team like SMU.
Sterling Brown fought for some shooting room, couldn't get it. Under the rim, Ben Moore fights, and he'll draw contact.
That's the issue for Houston today. I mean, we talked about what they need to do. They need to get out and run. They need to be solid in the half court. But more importantly, that you can't run if you don't get up on the glass. And SMU in conference is +11 on the glass. And they are going to do what you just saw there, Alan. They're going to send 4 to the offensive board. So Houston has to stay home. They can't leak out and try to get ahead of themselves and try to get in transition before they finish the play on the glass.
Now this is big here, so a second foul quickly on Rob Gray, and he goes to the bench. And Wes Van Beck comes in wearing 12 for the Cougars. So free throws made, and it's a 6-point ball game.
So they're changing their look after the free throws. A little soft pressure at the top, and was calling it tight early.
Backcourt foul picked up. That was on Sterling Brown. So with Gray out of the ball game, let's see if Dotson becomes the man. He's got the ball. He fires. He scores.
That's very surprising. Sterling Brown, maybe SMU's best perimeter defender, just took a little bit of a half step back off Dotson, and you can't do that. He doesn't need much space.
Ben Moore drives. Draws the contact on Meyer. So the foul's starting to add up quickly here for Houston as SMU goes aggressively into the lane. And 2 shots coming for Ben Moore. Team leader in rebounds, team leader in blocks. Is 5th in the American Conference in double-doubles. He got his 7th of the season on Wednesday night in their come-from-behind win against Tulane.
That's a difficult matchup for Kyle Meyer. SMU, that's what they like to do. They'll go 4, sometimes 5 out on the perimeter, and if Moore catches it and faces with space against Meyer, that's what he's going to do. He's going to try to find that angle to get all the way to the rim.
There for Ben Moore. 4 team fouls for the Cougars, just 1 for the Mustangs. The Mustangs commit the fewest fouls. As Shea can pick up a front court foul. Again, they trap Wes Van Beck short of the center court line, but twice now he's been able to draw a foul to get out of it.
SMU just kind of soft extended, and Tim Jankovic like very upset because they're not in that to try to steal, just make Houston take some time off the clock. But 2 good solid calls. You cannot reach in on the arm.
Dotson steps back to get a 3.
We watched him in practice, and there's not one shot we saw him take yesterday over a 2.5-hour period that looked like it would miss, because the ball is just coming off his hands perfectly, and no one spends more time in the gym for Houston than Damian Dotson.
Shemi Ojale drives, puts it up over Davis, and gets Ojale, the team leader in scoring for the Mustangs, on the board.
That's what SMU is going to continue to do. They're going to put pressure on that back line of Houston to guard one-on-one from the perimeter all the way to the basket.
Robinson into Meyer. He looks for Dotson. Brown stayed with Dotson, so Meyer looks for some working room. He'll get Van Beck. And they reset. Now 10 to shoot. Way outside and a little short from Dotson. With the rebound.
But Dotson's so difficult to defend. You know, he doesn't really handle the ball great. He's not a good passer. He doesn't get to the free throw line, but he creates space even when you crowd him with that length.
Short from the corner was Brown. Bounds, and they'll talk about it. And it will go to the Cougars.
Andrew Walton in on his teammate, a little help. That's what you like. You like a little good chemistry from the officials, and it's out on
Ojale. It looked like got the last hand on it.
Maybe.
You're less sure of that than I was?
Lee Casal had a better view of it than Andrew Walton, but sometimes when that other official runs in, you listen to him.
So Benamelagou into the game for SMU. Sterling Brown sits down. Bertrand Colley, 13 into the game for Kyle Meyer. For Houston. There's Davis inside against Ojale. Right-hander is good.
Well, right away, first time Devin Davis has caught the ball in the scoring area, and you see the skill level he has. That quick little jump hook right over the top. Ojale flat-footed.
Kelvin Sampson told us Ben Moore gets one from just outside the free throw line that's good. He told us when they played up at SMU January 21st. They played without Davis. He said, us playing SMU without Devin Davis is like SMU coming here to play us without Shemi Ojale and Ben Moore. And back. Davis. Got it.
Well, if Tim Jankovic didn't have Ben Moore and Shemi Ojale, I don't think he'd show up because he's only got about 6 players he can use. So his numbers are not there. But right now, SMU not putting the pressure on the shooters. Kind of their hands down on defense, not really attacking defensively and a little loose with the ball on offense.
Eventually, that'll be a tied-up ball. And Houston will get it on the possession arrow. Now, Damian Dotson has been the man for the Cougars in the last month or so, and he's been the man again today.
Well, he's on the scouting report as maybe the hottest player in this conference, so you better get up in his grill or he will light up the city of Houston.
Ten combined national championships, 4 Hall of Fame coaches. Ten combined national championships, Hall of Fame coaches, 2 games, 1 night. Krzyzewski versus Boeheim. Patino versus Williams. This is going to be a blockbuster.
'Cause we gon' blow your mind.
What a collection of Hall of Fame rings and championships, and the standings now in the ACC as those 4 teams get to go at it in those 2 games on Wednesday.
It's interesting, though. You see those 4 coaches, and, you know, they're in their 60s and 70s, not to give away ages, but they still are feisty. And those are all recent clips that you saw Rick just knock the water bottle out onto the floor of the Carrier Dome the other night, and James Arthur Boeheim's got his team back in order and looking towards the tournament. And of course, North Carolina's playing as good as anybody. And Duke, again, another win today. And they started 15-5 and have now won 7 in a row.
And of course, Carolina's still got to play Virginia, 15 Eastern on ESPN. Here in Houston, Alan Best with Tim Welch with you. 19th ranked SMU Mustangs. A little cold shooting to start this one. Okay, a lot cold shooting to start this one. And the Houston Cougars out to a 10-point lead. It's a game between the 1st and 3rd placed teams in the American Conference.
Well, Houston's defense, Alan, has been very, very solid all evening long, and they're doing a good job of protecting the paint. And really, it's almost a mirror of how SMU plays defense. Good ball pressure, but the help side is really rotating quickly, making SMU take a lot of jump shots.
Davis to Colley. Van Beck to Robinson, who drives. He will draw the foul. Ray Foster tried to get there, was inside the restricted arc and didn't get there in time. Oh, was he inside the arc?
He looked like he got outside the arc, but he never got set into a legal guarding position. So I thought that was a pretty good call.
First blush, I thought his heel might have been on the line, but wouldn't be the first thing I was mistaken upon. SMU just does not foul a lot. I mean, you think of Tim Jankovic's team playing with only 6 guys. They can't afford to foul, yet they defend so very effectively.
They do a great job of in their rotations. And again, a lot of pressure on the basketball. They don't overextend and deny, but everybody is in great help side, almost a pack line type defense, and they play with their hands up, and that's very, very important. And they don't get in tugs of war with guys that are on the box. They play around with their length and their quickness.
Bertrand Collie, 13 for Houston with his first foul. Foster will for the foul as he ran into Collie. That's his second for Jere Foster. And quickly, Sterling Brown will be up off the bench to come back into the ballgame for SMU.
Damian Dotson out of control. He gave him a nice little pump fake and got the ball into the lane, but he kind of lost his footing. I thought he walked even before he charged, and now there's an issue for SMU with Foster too.
Joining us, Rob Gray is on the bench for Houston, has been for the last few minutes with 2 fouls. Van Beck with the ball. Got caught in the air. Good defense by Shake Milton. He'll get another chance and drain it.
Well, Milton played good defense on the first go-round against Van Beck, but then he got his head turned in and wasn't aware where Van Beck was. Wasn't close enough on the closeout.
Biggest lead of the ball game for the Cougars. Milton driving, nice movement to get the bucket.
The first time in a while that SMU extended and reversed the ball with spacing and was allowed to get a lane all the way to the rim, and they've been settling for a lot of jump shots. That was the best offense they've run in a few minutes.
So halfway through this first half, again, pretty cold shooting for the Mustangs to start this one. 4 of 11 from the floor, 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. There's Robinson, cut off nicely by Milton, 10 to shoot for Houston. Dotson to Robinson, to Van Beck with 2 to shoot. Doesn't hit the iron. Turn it over on a shot clock violation. That's the first turnover of the ball game for Houston. As you see Rob Gray Jr. sitting on the bench. Again, picked up 2 quick fouls in this one. Got 5 points, but after just 5 minutes has been seated on the bench since.
He's not happy about it either. He's not used to sitting over there. He plays 32 minutes a game, and he's one of those guys that has to be moving around. So a tug on Kelvin's shirt there to get him back in the game, but there's no way he's putting him back with this lead.
Ojale with the bad miss, wide right. So an 11-point lead for the Cougars. I'm sure SMU fans, as Devin Davis shoots, gets a little bit. I'm sure SMU fans are thinking, yeah, we were down by 15 to Tulane Wednesday night, so we're okay.
Well, that was in the famed hallowed Moody Coliseum, so this is a different cat. And with all due respect to Tulane, they're playing much better, but Houston is playing just a notch below Cincinnati and SMU over the last few weeks, and maybe just as good.
Robinson drives, speeds out to Davis. Nice touch off the glass. Davis.
Again, we talked about it earlier, Alan, just the addition of Davis up front, another guy that they can pitch the ball to, that can finish plays around the rim with confidence.
So Gray is up and at the scorer's table, waiting to come back into the ball game, along with Chicken Knowles and Kyle Meyer. That one off the mark from and another empty possession for the Mustangs. Damian Dotson already with 12. That one off the mark. And a foul on in the fight for the rebound. Looks like that was on Devin Davis.
And Devin Davis is presenting himself early with offensive confidence in the lane and around the basket.
Young blood, my love, it's more than enough to fire me up, rush.
A 13-point lead for the homestanding Houston Cougars over the 19th-ranked SMU Mustangs. So Houston, we talked about this being an opportunity for them. They have 2 games left against the 2 ranked teams in the American Conference, still yet to play Cincinnati. At the moment, Joe Lunardi has the Cougars outside of the field to make the NCAA tournament. A chance to get a couple of big wins still remains ahead.
Well, there's no doubt about it. They have work to do, but they're in a good position because they're playing well. And as you said, Alan, the opportunity is in front of them starting today. And then, of course, with the game against Cincinnati. And listen, they are playing with a lot of confidence right now. They're whole, as we talked about. They've got good depth and scorers like Gray and Dotson. You can play with anybody, and right now Houston has proven it this afternoon.
Rob Gray back into the game with 2 fouls. Brown with 2 points. Sterling Brown gets a bucket for the Mustangs. Gray went to the bench with 14:49 remaining in this first half. Just came back in. Then Beck got out of control, trapped. Tried to get it to Kyle Meyer, and it's turned over. College basketball tomorrow afternoon on ESPN, still in this American Conference, as UConn's, the suddenly red-hot Huskies, take on the Temple Owls. In Philadelphia, 4 Eastern on ESPN, streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Kevin Ollie made a great point the other night after their comeback against Memphis. This is the UConn men and women have won 103 in a row, so UConn's playing well right now.
Dotson got a hand on it. Recovered by Brown, now 10 to shoot for SMU. And Jalen Adams carried the Huskies to that come-from-behind, gutted-out win against Memphis the other night. It was fascinating to watch. Ben Moore, and one!
Well, if SMU's going to get back into this game, that's what they have to do. They probably waited a little bit too long, but they have to keep attacking. Too many jump shots so far tonight for SMU, and that time they went right to the well inside, and that's a mismatch for SMU. Moore against Meyer, and also on the perimeter. I think if they move the ball, they have to challenge Rob Gray and see if Rob Gray will actually defend with 2 fouls. I'm not sure he will. I'm sure he's just going to play a soft defense and stay in the game.
Foul was on Kyle Meyer, his second. Damian Dotson goes to the bench for a rest. Armani Brooks, 3, the freshman, is into the game for the Cougars while Dotson takes a breather. Nice run and a floater for Rob Gray.
Well, that's why he's got to stay in the game, because he can do that. No one else on Houston can do that. Just go make a play with nothing out there looking open. He just found a way to get an angle and finish it.
Everybody else kind of looked like they were standing still, huh? Amelagu spins away from the defense, but can't get it. Gray for 3. No. Back iron. New rebound.
Kelvin Sampson did not like that shot. That's way too quick, even for Rob Gray.
They cut off by Knowles, trying to get to the baseline. Amelagu from the corner for 3. Ben Amelagu, who had his season high against Houston, January 21st, up in Moody.
He's been a little bit of the X factor in conference play, shooting 40% from the 3. Just dreadful early in the season, but he's caught fire, a good solid defender and passer as well.
That was the first made 3-pointer of the game for the Mustangs. 1 of 6 now from outside.
Well, Melagu's a good player, and Tim Jankovic says, he's basically a starter, but he comes in and gives us a lot off the bench.
Van Beck throws it up with 1 second left on the shot clock. Look at Meyer fight for the rebound with Ben Moore. Out of bounds of SMU.
Kyle Meyer has given Kelvin Sampson some huge minutes so far today, just banging around inside, playing with a lot of energy. He doesn't do it with a lot of flash, but toughness at a premium for Meyer.
Because the shot hit the rim before the rebound was fought for, the Cougars have a fresh shot clock to work with. SMU out-rebounds its opponents by 11 a game. Kelvin Sampson's emphasis to his team in practice, to his big men, was you've got to go get rebounds. You can't wait for them to come to you. You got to go get them. 10 to shoot for the Cougars. Gray drives. Outside to Van Beck. To Brooks. Meyer taps it up. And that'll be out of Melagu.
Well, Tim Jankovic better have a little conversation with his bigs. Kyle Meyer only averages 3 rebounds per game, but he is keeping the ball alive on the offensive glass just with toughness and hustle.
Tim Jankovic was having a conversation with referee Andrew Walton. Inbound pass. Ben Beck knocked it away from Ben Moore, but out of bounds to the Mustangs.
Very surprising. Houston just loose with the basketball, and Gray just threw the ball right up in the air, and there seems to be some sort of issue with the clock.
They'll go check it out. Lee Cassell over there along with Andrew Walton. Shot clock set at 26. Game clock at 4:05. And we resume. 10-point deficit for the Mustangs. Milton drives. It's called for the foul. Shake Milton called for the offensive foul. The ball turned over with SMU trailing by 10. Under 4 to go, first half. Houston leading 19th ranked SMU by 10. Coming up at halftime, it's Chris Hassel, Andy Katz, and the Land Rover Halftime Report. All the scores and highlights from around college basketball. No doubt including recognition of Mick Cronin's 300th career victory. Well, the Mustangs are trailing, but some numbers to back up what I said before about what, us worry yet?
Well, again, though, we're on the road today if you're SMU and thinking, you know, they have to regroup and get their offense going. And, you know, for Houston, Houston has been rock solid, doing a nice job on both ends of the court, forcing the issue on offense, but really making SMU take a lot of jump shots.
Dotson off the mark. Rebound, Jeray Foster. Shake Milton on the bench for his breather for the Mustangs. Galen Robinson and Ben Moore fight for the ball. The big man Moore comes down with it. Gets it out of trouble. 10 to shoot for SMU. Brown. No. Kyle Meyer fighting for the rebound. Knocked away. It will go to Houston.
Houston, in my opinion, an underrated defensive team, and they are playing as good as you could play tonight against SMU. A really good game plan. A lot of help, a lot of energy. Contesting shots and doing a nice job on the glass.
Somebody can break this scoring drought the Cougars have been in. Just about 3 minutes long. Take it away. Sterling Brown tries to go end to end. Yameligu with the rebound, way over to Brown. Foster. Jeray Foster.
Well, you can't relax against SMU. There's no way. They're too good and they're too competitive. They've got good players at every position and they play with confidence. As we said, they've been played from behind the last couple games, so they are not going to be denied for 40 minutes.
7-0 run, as you see there, for the Mustangs. Knocked out of bounds. Houston's ball, 14 to shoot. Jeray Foster, a hometowner from here in Houston. 10 for the Mustangs.
You see their length. They're playing a little zone here at the top, a little 1-3-1. Very difficult. The passing angles. Rob, no.
There's Ojale on Galen Robinson. Feeds a driving Brown, and Benmore there for the putback.
Ojale took the extra step at the rim and absolutely walked, and the ref missed it.
Kelvin Sampson expressed explicitly to the referees at the timeout.
This night is heated up. Raise hell and turn it up.
Kelvin Sampson fired up during the timeout.
Well, first and foremost, he was fired up at the referees because they missed the walk on Ojale, and you can't have that. I mean, everybody in the building saw he definitely walked on his way to the rim. But secondly, a little upset with his team. They're kind of playing soft against this zone. They're not being strong with the basketball.
That offense is turning into fast break opportunities for SMU. There's Damian Dotson off the mark. And a rebound by Amelagu. Now down to a 4-point deficit for the Mustangs. They were trailed by 13 at one point. Amelagu to Benmore. For Brim, but it went down.
Houston has to get the ball into the gaps against this 1-3-1. They got to fake, get it down to the baseline, try to skip it across to the top. But right now, of SMU, we've talked about it. No bigs, no littles. They got a lot of medium guys who are long in this zone and make it very difficult to find good angles for the pass across the zone.
Everybody on SMU's team that plays between 6'5" and 6'9". They don't have the big 7+ footer. They don't have the short guy running around. I say short, still probably 6 foot, playing this level of college basketball. Should that be more polite?
Well, they're long is what they are, and that's why Houston's having difficulty against this zone because they're getting out of the passing lanes. That time drew the foul, but Robinson couldn't finish.
9-0 run, the Mustangs are looking to build on. Brown, no. Fight for the ball, and a putback. Delay, and the ball game's tied.
Well, again, SMU, they send 4, count them, 4 to the offensive glass, so you better counter that with everybody staying home.
Gray. Meyer missed the putback. And the alley-oop out from Rob Gray to break the long scoreless drought for the Cougars.
Well, just giving Houston a little confidence, that was really needed going into the half because they have struggled. They're playing back on their heels right now, and SMU is starting to impose their will on both ends of the floor.
Ojale, short for 3. Loose ball out of it. College basketball tonight on ESPN with a big one in the ACC. Number 14 Virginia against number 10 North Carolina. Saturday prime time presented by AT&T, 8:15 Eastern. Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Cavs have had the Tar Heels number lately, but the Cavs in a little bit of a struggling part of their season coming into tonight.
Well, they're not really as good as they were a year ago on both ends of the floor. I still feel like they'll get better going down the stretch, but it's not an easy task in the ACC, as we all know. Look, right now, 9 teams projected to go to the NCAA.
So down to what could be the last possession of this first half. Dotson from the corner. Wouldn't go. Offensive rebound and a foul. Devin Davis tried to go up with it. Jeray Foster will get called, and Davis will shoot free throws.
Well, that was the best possession Houston's had against the 1-3-1. They ball faked. They got into the gap. They reversed the ball quickly from one side of the floor to the other to get it to Dotson for an open shot in his spot in the corner, and then Davis on the glass.
So Jere Foster with his third foul, to go with 2 for Ben Moore and 2 for Shake Milton. Foul trouble not something that Tim Jankovic's team is normally in, but aggressive for Houston has helped that cause. So a timeout here with 3.7 to go and a 2-point game. What was a 13-point lead at one time for the Houston Cougars.
Davis on the backside and Foster with the reach in.
So Devin Davis, the junior forward from Indianapolis, a transfer from missed basically 13 games. He played a skosh of 1, but you see that when he plays versus when he doesn't, Houston is a better team.
Well, he is no doubt their best inside player, their best rebounder, the guy they can throw the ball to on the box. And Chicken Knowles is a guy that can get to the rim, but he's more of a face-up forward. And Davis is a back-to-the-basket guy who can get not only to the rim, but get fouled, as you saw in that play.
Now, important, they changed the foul call from Jere Foster to Sterling Brown. So now Brown has 2 and Foster has 2. And the 2 made free throws and a timeout with 3.7 to go to set up a final play. Well, Houston, after coming out with such energy and effort, looking like they had SMU on their heels a little bit, that pace of energy slowed late in this first half.
Well, and I don't think it's any discredit to Houston and how they've attacked this game. You're not running this team out of the building, meaning SMU. They are too good. They're not getting run out of the building by anybody. You saw that when they went on the road and played at Cincinnati earlier in the conference season. Cincinnati had them on the ropes. They just keep coming. They keep playing. And Tim Jankovic talked about it to us earlier today. He just said they're just so competitive. I mean, they played just kind of a lackadaisical first half against Tulane, and they just came out and did their thing in the second half. So you've got to play a 40-minute game against SMU. They're too good.
Sterling Brown will drive all the way and shoot and bounce it off the front iron after the backboard. But after Houston split an early lead, SMU rallies back. 11% from 3, so they went inside the big man. And Ben Moore led the way offensively for the Mustangs. So SMU will have the ball to start this second. Another number that stood out with the halftime stats, the 3-point shooting for Houston, who started 4 of 8, but then missed their last 4. So SMU in the road black uniforms, Houston in the home whites. A game between the first and third place teams in the American. Big implications in this one. Cincinnati has already won today. SMU, after earning a hard-fought tie for first place with the Bearcats by beating them last Sunday, needs to win this one to keep pace. Nice move by Jere to paint. And for Houston, they are the third place team in the conference. A win over a ranked SMU team would be huge for their tournament resume and their hopes for making the NCAA bracket. Damian Dotson was one of the people who started out hot but got cold from outside for the Cougars late in that first half. They'll miss that one to start the second half. On Chicken Knowles will be called. Ball over to SMU.
Well, interesting, on that first possession out of the half for SMU, they took their time, but they went right at Rob Gray, and Jere Foster just kind of backed him in and used his size to shoot over the top, understanding that Gray still has those 2 fouls. Did a pretty good job playing with 2 in the first half, actually drawing a charge at one point.
Almost stole the ball there, did Gray, but it's Foster's hands. And SMU looking to tie or take the lead. Ojale will get tripped by Knowles, and Knowles will pick up 2 fouls.
That's why Shemi Ojale is so hard to defend for a big, and going out on the perimeter like Chicken Knowles had to there, he's not really used to doing that against a guy like Ojale who can knock down that shot. So you've got to go out and close out under control, forcing him more to his left hand.
Ojale played all 20 minutes in that first half, 4 points. Foster into Ojale. Between 3 white jerseys, trying to get the ball up. It's Knowles that's down on the floor. It'll be Houston ball.
Good job by Houston on the post up by Ojale. They're trying to isolate him down low, and he had Robinson down, but they did a good job of just building a wall and forcing him under the rim, and he had nowhere to go.
The whistle here to Knowles. Knowles might have a little blood after that contact underneath, and so he will have to go to the attention of the Houston training staff. And Devin Davis will come into the ball game for Houston. He got whacked by Ojale there, trying to go up and fight for that rebound. Devin Davis turned into a force for the Cougars in that first half once he came into the ball game. 3 of 4 from the floor, 2 of 2 from the free throw line in 12 minutes of play. Kyle Meyer, Damian Dotson. Sterling Brown aggressively defending Dotson. Here's Gray over Foster with one hand in from the foul line.
Now that's a tough shot because SMU, I was about to credit their defense, just so good position-wise, forcing a tough shot over the top, but Gray can deliver that.
Ball will stay with SMU. Gray did not have his best game of the season the last time these two teams played. In fact, Kelvin Sampson was, let's just say, less than flattering in his appraisal of Gray's performance up at SMU. There is Ojale with a 3 for the Mustangs.
It's just good, quick ball reversal, and Houston was a little slow on the retreat and the rotation at the top.
Dotson looking to the sideline. Sampson calls a play. Gray switches hands. Short. Kyle Meyer fighting for the rebound and a tie. And the possession arrow will keep it with Houston. Meyer's been a pretty good force in this game today, hasn't he?
He has. He's thrown his body around a lot, and he doesn't get a lot of rebounds out of his area, but he's doing a good job of just forcing the issue. And SMU is not really doing a good job of paying attention to him and putting the body on him. They're just kind of used to going to get the ball. They've got to really make sure they block out Meyer because he's a force today.
And a screen and roll, didn't get the pass from Gray, who went to Robinson instead. Now Gray drives with the circus shot.
The seas parted for SMU, very unlike them defensively, and Gray just got to the middle of the floor. No one came over for help.
And a foul on SMU.
So this is what makes Rob Gray so special as a guard. He can just find a way to get into the middle of the defense and create in a small window of opportunity.
Shake Milton called for the foul for the Mustangs, and that is his 3rd. So with a 3-point lead. Rob Gray, it seems like he's taken every shot this half for the Cougars. They take that one and make it.
Right hand, left hand, body control in the lane, the floaters. Rob Gray delivers in a lot of different ways with the same result.
Double teamed as Brown swings out of it. Ojale trying to post up. 10 to shoot. Ben Moore. What a fight that was. About 6 players went after it aggressively. Gray came away with it.
Well, that was reminiscent of the defense that Houston played in the beginning of this game. Just really stingy at the top. Good rotations and forcing SMU to take jumpers with a hand in their face.
Gray with the ball here. He has the last 6 Houston points. 10 to shoot. This is Robinson with 5 to shoot. Davis with the rebound.
We talked about Kyle Meyer not getting rebounds out of his area, but Devin Davis can do that.
Dotson looked like he lost the handle on the ball as he tried to apply the brakes. That ball on the floor. Is that on Shake Milton? That's his 4th. That's a foul on Milton. Rob Gray has been the star of this second half for the Houston Cougars. And they lead by 5. 19th ranked SMU trailing Houston by 5. And a big moment at the whistle. Shake Milton picked up his 4th foul.
There it is, a little hand-to-hand, arm-to-arm combat on the baseline, and they start calling those, Allen. We're going to go deep into both benches because that was not exactly a full foul. That's about as nice as I can be.
Tim Jankovic stood out at the center court line, waiting for the officials to come to center court to discuss this with them before he went into his huddle. As you can imagine, he probably didn't get much satisfaction out of the discussion.
I mean, you can call that on every shot. I mean, these guys are going to bounce bodies. I mean, you can't displace somebody. There's no doubt about that. But got a little bit more common sense if you're going to blow the whistle on just a little bit of a body touch.
Devin Davis off with the shot, rebound. So SMU trailing by 5, scoreless since the 17:52 mark. So nearly 3 minutes in this second half. They've been out rebounded 5-2 by the Cougars in this second half. Ojale. Shemi Ojale has 19 consecutive games with 12 points or more. That is his 9th point of the game in this one.
A little back to the basket turnaround, and that's where Ojale can hurt you, but he also can step on the perimeter. He's starting to feel it.
Robinson to Davis. Be down to 10 to shoot. Davis cut off. Outside to Gray. Single digits on the shot clock. He works against the Meligu. Pulls up from 3. Back iron. Fight for the rebound. Foul call. Kyle Meyer over the back. That's his 3rd.
Meyer trying to do what he's done most of tonight. Just keep that ball alive. But SMU on that possession doing a better job of getting the inside position.
Houston sends Robinson up. Trying to put a little pressure on the ball. Couldn't draw the foul. Meligu from 3. Short. Rebound, Jure Foster. Second chance for the Mustangs. Around to Ojale. What? And to the rim for Shemi Ojale.
That's a pro forward move right there. Just on the closeout, showed the little ball fake. It got all the way to the rim with a nice touch.
Gray playing one-on-one against the bucket.
That's where Rob Gray has done his damage in the second half. Got right to the middle of the paint again with dribble penetration, and SMU having major problems controlling the electric Gray.
He has the last 8 points for the Cougars. That'll be a foul, Gray. Foster was up in the air. He might have got him with the lower body and cut the legs on him.
Well, both teams doing a really good job of trying to identify mismatches both down low and out on the perimeter. And Rob Gray's taking the taller SMU guards off the dribble at will, but down on the other end, SMU's trying to post him up.
So that is his 3rd. Remember, he spent 7 minutes of the first half on the bench, did Rob Gray. Kelvin Sampson looking on. Trying to encourage his team to not let the 3rd foul on Gray get him down. Keep after it. Foster will go right after Gray. Lost the handle on the ball. Meligu. Bring it back out and reset. Now 10 to shoot for the Mustangs. He'll draw the rules. Chicken Knowles with that contact earlier, fighting for a rebound. Left eye patched up. Back in the game, he'll draw the 3rd foul there.
Well, SMU's guards are doing a nice job with Shake Milton, their natural point guard, guy who plays the point for most of the night. Foster, also Brown, and Meligu handling the duties.
Shemi Ojale on Gray. Wild pass, batted away by a couple. Stay with SMU with 18 to shoot.
SMU had a little bit of advantage there. Houston triple teamed Ojale, but SMU kind of stood still out on the perimeter and had trouble finding an open man.
Inbounds to a cutting Foster, who'll be met as he went to the lane.
Well, both coaches are having their say. There's no doubt about it, and I don't blame them. These refs, there's no consistency out there tonight at all. It just, guys are getting knocked over, and there's no call, and you touch them with your fingertip, and they're calling a block like you got knocked over. So I don't blame either coach right now.
Kevin Davis with his third foul. Foster drives and picks up the fourth on Gray. So since he got the third foul, Houston has gone right at Gray a couple of times, and that time they got him for number 4. Still 12:40 to go in the ball game.
Jankovic came running out onto the floor. Something happened after the play, and that's what he was mad about. Dotson bashing the ball into the crowd, and Tim Jankovic wanted a technical foul on Damian Dotson, and probably should have received a technical foul, but these officials really do not have a good flow going tonight.
So Gray goes out of the game. Wes Van Beck comes in. Van Beck very good with the deep ball, shooting 52% from 3 this year. And he'll have to carry the Cougars in this one. Foster makes the free throws. It's a 1-point game.
SMU back in the 1-3-1 that gave Houston some problems in the first half. Ojale at the top, really long and athletic, and they do a good job of soft trapping in the corner.
Dotson lost the handle on the ball. Gets it back to Knowles. Inside to Robinson. Met and blocked. Ben Moore down, out of bounds. It stays with Houston.
Kelvin Sampson wanted a foul here, and he just thought that Jalen Robinson got shoved on the drive, but both coaches getting their money's worth tonight.
Kickball. Maybe Houston's went off of foot, and it brings us to the under 12 timeout. Been a lot of walking up and down the sidelines with officials by the coaches involved in this game.
Hey, that's what I like about you. The way you do what you do, how you do.
10 combined national championships, 4 Hall of Fame coaches. Ten combined national championships, 4 Hall of Fame coaches, 2 games, 1 night. Krzyzewski versus Boeheim. Patino versus Williams. This is going to be a blockbuster.
Cause we gon' blow your mind.
Now, what a night Wednesday on ESPN, and a look now at Joe Lunardi's projections of tournament bids by conference. The ACC leading the way with 9, and the American right now with only Cincinnati and SMU projected to be in the field of 68.
Well, again, this Houston they're in the hunt. They're on the outside, a couple blocks away, looking in. And this game tonight is so important, but Kelvin Sampson's not thinking about that right now. He's just trying to get through this period of the game without Rob Gray.
Damian Dotson is somebody they need to get hot. There's a couple for him.
That's the first time he somehow sprung loose at all in a long time. SMU's done a very good job on him, but that was a good call coming out of the timeout. Little baseline screen. He came right off that wing down screen.
Ojale and Foster have all 11 of SMU's points in this second half. 10 to shoot for the Mustangs. Here's Ojale driving. Up and under won't go. Gets his own rebound and is fouled as he goes back up. That's Wes Van Beck, who will get called for the foul for the Cougars.
Houston's got to tighten up their defense. You know, they're going for the ball fake here on the perimeter, and you have to close them out, but Houston knows slide over a little bit to take that charge or close out Ojale a lot sooner, not let him get all the way to the rim.
That is already the 8th team foul whistled against the Cougars in this half versus 2 against the Mustangs. Again, the Mustangs, the team that gets whistled for the fewest fouls in the nation per game this season. Ojale misses the front end. I know they want me to try and pronounce that. The part I know is Ojale.
That to you, partner. I just call him Chevy, and Chevy can score. And right now, he's playing the top of this 1-3-1, and this defense has given Houston a lot of problems. They've got to try to get it to the base again. Bothering Robinson.
Foster tips that one away. Ojale's family is from Nigeria. His dad did a residency at the University of Kansas, Ottawa, Kansas, the town that Ojale calls home. So SMU trailing by 2, looking to tie or take the lead. Amelagu from 3, and the Mustang.
Houston not only has some issues against this 1-3-1 defensively that time, just overplaying in the middle of the floor, not rotating quick enough.
Scored the first bucket of the game, haven't led until just now. Robinson drives, he'll be fouled on the way to the iron.
SMU's done a nice job of just kind of taking what Houston's giving them, and on the pick and roll, they overreact to the ball screen, and on the quick ball reversal, Amelagu wide open.
Amelagu was called for that foul. That is his first in the game. Galen Robinson, who leads the Cougars in assists, shoots 65% from the free throw line as Rob Gray continues to watch. College basketball tonight on ESPN. Number 14 Virginia, number 10 North Carolina in the ACC. Saturday prime time presented by AT&T, 8:15 Eastern. Also streaming live on the ESPN app, and watch ESPN. Robinson missed. And so it's tied at 41.
A better job though in that possession by Robinson after the ball reversal to get in the gaps of that 1-3-1.
Moore drives. Wouldn't go. Davis with the rebound. Houston team needs someone to step up and score. Rob Gray had scored almost all of their points in this second half. That one, Davis.
Houston did a better job on that last possession defensively of closing the door and making it difficult for Ben Moore at the rim.
Halfway through this second half, the Hofheinz Pavilion in Houston. Now invest with Tim Welsh, a game between the first and third place teams in the American. For Houston to win, a big resume builder to their hopes to being in the NCAA tournament. Cincinnati's already won today. SMU with 3 to shoot. Gets it to go from Bay to win to keep pace.
Solid on both ends, but SMU prevailing with patience, and Moore with a little mid-range shot.
Early in the game, Houston raced out to a 13-point lead. And the Mustangs came roaring back at the end of that first half. Rob Gray scoring almost all of the early points in the second half for Houston, but he's on the bench in foul trouble. There's Dotson. That's wide left. Ben Brown.
That's the problem right now Houston has. It's one and done because SMU starting to impose their will on the glass as they do most nights.
Rattles the rim, but goes Sterling Brown.
Kelvin Sampson's going to call a timeout. He's got to think about if he's going to rob Gray back in this game before it gets away from him.
Mustangs lead by 4. After Sterling Brown drains the bucket.
Well, Shake Milton on the bench with 4 fouls, no problem. A point guardless SMU playing solid.
Just under 9 to go in the ball game, and SMU now leading by 4 over Houston. Kind of a real danger zone here for the Cougars. Rob Gray on the bench with 4 fouls. And of course, you sit here and debate, when do you bring him back?
Well, every team is built in a different way, but Rob Gray is so important to Houston and what they do against a big-time team like SMU. Kelvin Sampson, I'm sure his brain is just spinning over there saying, okay, if I bring him back now, you know, it is a huge risk. He fouls out of the game's probably over. But on the other end of that, it's getting away from him. So try to stem the tide here and get Damian Dotson involved and get him going in the meantime.
All right, Dotson, who had 25 against SMU in the first matchup, only has 10 right now. I say only. Van Beck out to Robinson. Ojale was closing quickly on him. He pulled it down. Meyer throws it up from 3. Big fella around and out. Fight for the rebound underneath 4. And that's going to be called on SMU. Chicken Knowles draw the foul. I think that was on Melody. Sorry, Tim, it was. Just a second.
He's doing a very good job of staying home on the perimeter. Van Beck and Dotson and saying, okay, someone else beat us from the perimeter. Houston doesn't have another answer.
Sterling Brown is hurt out on the floor. Whistle. Sterling Brown took a shot trying to close out on Dotson when he had the ball there for a moment. Just giving the thumbs up to the bench, but he was grimacing and limping around there until that whistle. Foul was on Ojale, his first.
As we know, SMU only plays 6 players, and Milton has 4 fouls, is on the bench.
Robinson lost the ball, trying to cut, jumps back on it. And a tied up ball over to SMU on the possession. Robinson tried to change directions with the ball and lost control of it. Quickly jumped back on it, but had nothing else to do but try and tie it up.
Well, Galen Robinson is having some issues against this length of SMU. You see, he gets into the teeth of the defense, but he sees 3 blue jerseys all closing in on him, and that's what SMU does so well. They rotate to the basketball, and when you get by the first defender, there's a second and a third one to meet you.
Bounced that off Kyle Myers' foot, who was rolling back toward the basket after setting the screen. Look at that ball movement. Tuamelagu off the mark for 3. He's down by Dotson. Knowles drives into traffic. And a foul called on. And that is going to be, I believe, on Melagu. It's on Ojale. So that'll be Ojale's second foul. Very tense game in this building. Fans being loud, coaches frustrated. A tight one in the American in Houston. Cougars happy. Will it be a Husky or an Owl who will be happy tomorrow? As we go back in the American on ESPN with UConn taking on Temple, 4 Eastern. ESPN streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. UConn with a massive come-from-behind home win over Memphis the other night. Temple suffering a tough loss on the road.
UConn surging at the right time, and really it's kind of how your schedule works, but they're playing better basketball. And the thing about Connecticut is we all know that the tournament's on their home court in Hartford, so that always makes them a threat, especially to get into that top 5 where they don't have to play the first day. But more importantly in this game, okay, it's Kelvin Sampson. It's almost like he's got a stopwatch in his pocket. It's minute by minute, just kind of hold on for another minute or 2. And then he get back into this game. Just kind of keep the score right around where it is. Has to start with defense and getting Damian Dotson some open looks.
And you know the minute that Gray comes back on the floor, Tim Jankovic and SMU are going to make a run at him. Nice bounce pass from Ben Moore.
Well, that's just a killer right there. They've done that twice now tonight on baseline out of bounds. Just throwing the ball right to SMU.
So the Mustangs trying to pull away a little bit. Houston hanging in there. Here's Ojale driving, slices, and draws the foul. Shemi Ojale.
He is just a big-time player. He closes out tough on the perimeter, and Dotson does a really good job. He just squares him up, goes by him with the left, and gets all the way to the rim, and Knowles gets into his body. He's got to go straight up with the hands. You see Chicken Knowles, he probably would have been able to draw the charge, but he kind of shoves Ojale as he gets up in the air.
So with 7:12 to go in the ball game, Rob Gray comes back on the floor with 4 fouls. That was the 4th on Chicken Knowles. He goes to the bench. And Ojale the bonus point.
But also, if you're coaching this game, you have to understand how the game's being officiated. You might not like it, but also understand they're calling a lot of stuff on drives to the rim. So space it, put your head down, try to get to the rim because you probably get to the line.
Robinson drives and one.
Sets.
Love it when a plan comes together, right?
Well, doesn't take a genius to figure it out. Basically, on every possession in the last 3 or 4 minutes, space the floor, find an angle, get the ball in the lane or right to the rim, and if there's any contact, the refs are calling a foul. So, okay, you may not agree with it, but you've got to take advantage of it. It is what it is. So I don't see much there, but they're going to call it. If there's any type of contact or body-to-body type, look like there's contact, you're going to go line. So both teams need to keep doing that and attack.
So a 4-point game. And you kind of think, I thought that the second Rob Gray came back into the ball game. Foul against. And it goes back to the Cougars. I thought Rob Gray's on the floor. Offense is going to run through him. And he was nowhere near the play, right? Robinson went straight through.
Well, when you've been out a while, probably the worst thing you do is just come right back in the game and try to make a play. You got to get into the flow of the game a little bit. We'll get Rob Gray going. He won't stay quiet for long.
Defended by Amelagu here. From the corner, Dotson drains the 3.
Well, it's amazing. Just the presence of Rob Gray gets his partner in crime going. And that time, the dribble drive on the baseline and the drift to his spot. He might as well put his bed right there because he loves it in the corner.
All the way to Amelagu. Devin Davis had to shuffle away and keep from drawing the foul. Under 6 to go in the ball game, and a good one here in Houston. Here's Gray, defended by Jere Foster. He'll pull up for 3. Got it!
Well, okay, Houston's back in the game with Rob Gray, but I'm Tim Jankovic. I go right at Rob Gray and see if he wants to defend.
He's defending Foster, who has the ball here. On the switch, Gray was on Ben Moore somehow. Inside, up and out, and Moore gets the put. Little defensive confusion there for the Cougars. Here's Robinson trying to go end to end. And one!
This is Houston's game at its best, and normally against SMU, they will get back, but Robinson pushing the pace all the way to the rim.
Jere Foster is hurt, heading toward the bench.
See, in transition, SMU never gets matched up, and just a great twisting move by Robinson. They thought he was going middle, and he just kind of twisted his body back to the left and found a way to get to the rim and finish it.
One of Tim Jankovic's biggest fears down the stretch is injury. Foster came down on that, chasing Robinson to the iron. Now has gone to the bench. Shake Milton is back in the game with 4 fouls. And Robinson trying to add the extra. Won't go. Ojale and Gray on a switch, and from outside, Sterling Brown.
Toughness. SMU keeps answering the bell.
Gray, Amelagu tried to draw a foul on a screen. It wouldn't go. Shot was short. Ojale will draw the foul on the rebound. Devin Davis, who picks up the foul, his 4th.
Rob Gray just on the dribble drive, the drive and drift, and really no drift. Dotson's just locked in. That's his spot. You know where he's going, and he's Says, get out of the way. I've been on the bench and I don't really stay relaxed very long, and I want to do one thing, light it up.
So Gray has 20, Dotson has 13. And Ojale shooting free throws. The double bonus now for the Mustangs the rest of the way, and for Houston the rest of the way as well.
I thought Tim Jankovic did a pretty smart thing on the previous possession. He got Ojale in a pick and roll situation on a switch, and he had Rob Gray guarding him. I thought they were going to go right inside to Ojale, but it's Sterling Brown just said, I'm going to step back and drain it.
So a 5-point Mustang lead. 3 defenders around Gray.
1-3-1 again. SMU continues to change defenses, but Rob Gray will get right into the gaps on ball reversal and look for Dotson in the corner.
Dotson off the mark for 3. Meyer couldn't get the rebound. Ball is out of bounds. Officials conferring. It will stay with the Mustangs.
Rob Gray being out on the floor with Galen Robinson will allow a little bit more dribble penetration into those gaps, but they must ball fake because of the length of SMU at the top.
4 minutes to go in this one from Houston. The floater is good.
Not sure SMU was organized on that defensive set or possession. Like half of them were in zone, the other half were in man, and 2 doing one, 3 doing the other. Houston made a pay.
Ben Moore. Nice.
Houston struggled to guard that 2-man game at the top, and they have to figure out if they're going to switch. They're really showing hard and leaving the screener wide open.
Dotson falling through it off of Amelagou's hands, and the ball will stay with Houston. Where in the world is Bill Walton? Well, he's in the Pacific Northwest for a great game that follows this one. More in a minute. Well, never let it be said that Bill Walton does not have varied interests. Exploring the library up on the University of campus, yesterday in advance of the game he will call next between the Huskies and number 5 Arizona. Right after what is shaping up to be a great finish here in Houston between the 19th ranked SMU Mustangs and the Houston Cougars. SMU trying to keep pace with Cincinnati and stay in a first place tie in the American. Bearcats already won earlier today. Robinson off the mark for 3. SMU Ojale with the rebound for the Mustangs.
Probably not the shot that Kelvin Sampson wanted. Robinson not a good three-point shooter. He's only made 9 on the entire season. They need to continue to attack. SMU has some foul issues. The game's being called tight.
1.
That's what Houston needs to do down the other end. SMU has taken note, and they just dribble driving right at the rim. And Knowles tries to draw the charge. Gets in the way a little bit, but draws contact.
Just turn that shoulder. And that's going to foul him out of the ballgame.
He's been better served, just sliding his feet, building a wall, putting his hands straight up in the air, making Brown shoot over his length. But instead, he made himself small and slid into the offensive player.
He will probably not be the first player to foul out of this ballgame since there are 4 others on the floor, 2 for each team that have 4 fouls.
When you have your hands down, the officials really, most of the time they will call a foul on the defender, and that's why SMU is so good at not putting people on the line. In fact, they always have their hands straight up in the air, and they build that wall, and it's hard to call fouls if you're straight up with your hands up in the air in a legal guarding position.
So now the lead back out to 8 after Houston had come back to tie it. Gray, that one wouldn't go. Fight for the rebound. Ojale will win it. So under 3 minutes here. Houston raced out to a 13-point lead early in this one. SMU came roaring back to make it a close one at halftime.
Watch for SMU to get into their 2-man game here at the top. See how Houston handles it.
Devin Davis on Sterling Brown here. Robinson flies to the floor, shot wildly off the mark. Ben Moore fighting. Gray will come up with it. Van Beck will regroup. Dotson for 3.
Well, SMU did a really good job of getting back and protecting the lane and the numbers in transition, but Houston stayed with the play and found Dotson. Excellent offense by Houston.
5-point ball game, just under 2 to go. Robinson tips that one away. SMU 19 to shoot.
Damian Dotson, this is what he does. He just has a great sense of finding an open spot on the floor, and give Houston credit. They really moved the ball well and took their time, didn't panic.
Under 2 minutes to go. I believe they might be going to check who this was off of, going out of bounds.
A loose pass out on the perimeter. Looks like it's off Robinson.
Caleb Robinson was talking and talking and talking to the officials right from the second the ball was tipped out of bounds. And again, inside of 2 minutes to go, so check it out, be sure, in a close ball game like this. Really critical for Houston's defense to find a way to make a couple of stops here.
Well, their issue has been this. Basically, SMU's gotten to their 2-3 offense. They're going 2 out of the top, and they're sitting just a ton of ball screens, and Houston staying with the ball handler way too long out of the perimeter, and they're creating mismatches on the pass back to the screener, and it's usually SMU Ojale, and he's just squaring up his defender with space and taking him off the bounce and getting all the way to the rim or drawing a foul.
Another one tonight, the 3rd in a row, where the Mustangs have dug a little bit of a hole and rallied back. Here with 1:51 to go. Still looking at the out-of-bounds play, and it will stay now with the Mustangs. Number 5 Arizona and Washington coming up next. But first, a good finish here in Houston. We told you this was going to be a good ball game when we came in. Might not have looked at it at the beginning when Houston raced out to that 13-point lead, but SMU has dug in. And they have the ball here, up by 5.
Well, another piece to this on the Houston is they are dreadfully small right now, so they have to make sure they get up on the glass because SMU is going to send 4 to the glass, and Houston has to protect.
Foul on the floor as to try to drive. I believe that's going to be Van Beck who will be ticketed for that one. And free throws coming for the Mustangs.
Well, again, SMU has done a good job of adjusting to the way the game has been officiated, and it's been consistent. Drive, a little contact, is going to be a foul. So Houston's got to make sure they adjust, not only on this end of the floor, but down the other end. They can get to the free throw line as well, because SMU has some issues with fouls and also with Foster out of the game, possibly with the leg problem.
Following Virginia, North Carolina over on ESPN tonight. It's Sports Center at Night with Kevin Connors and Nicole Briscoe. Highlights from college basketball, NBA All-Star Saturday in New Orleans, spring training, everything else of this busy day in sports on ESPN, streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. So Nicole texted me a picture of us on television earlier. There you go, right back, Nick.
Thank ratings.
There you go.
We like that.
So with the free throw, 7-point lead for the Mustangs.
SMU back in their 1-3-1. Just not overextending, but really making it difficult for Houston.
Dotson drains the three. Houston.
That's the first time in a while that SMU kind of backpedaled in the 1-3-1. It was a soft 1-3-1, and they really didn't pay attention at all. They did a good job. Davis set a screen at the top to kind of allow Robinson that angle just to get the ball into the gap, and Dotson does, as always, a nice job just sliding up into that open vacuum on the wing. He doesn't need much room to lock and load and finish it.
Damian Dotson, second on the team in scoring, seven double-doubles, fifth in the conference in that. He's fourth in the conference in points per game. And there his 19 points of this one. But the Cougars still trailing by 4 with a minute and a half to go. You see the timeout situation. They're low on those. They've lost Chicken Knowles to foul trouble. Rob Gray has 4. Devin Davis has Mustang. Shake Milton and Jeray Foster have 4, though Foster has been on the bench for the last few minutes after coming down hard, chasing a rebound, and appearing to land wrong. So the Mustangs with the 5 that are on the floor for the rest of the way, it appears.
Well, again, Houston just got to kind of play a soft, contained defense and make SMU shoot a contested jumper, keep them off the free throw line.
Ojale against Van Beck. And one!
I thought Van Beck did as good a job as he could, just kind of moving his feet. And Ojale kind of forced the issue. It looked like he kind of displaced Van Beck. And Beck's kind of got his hands up in the air, and not sure why that's a foul on Van Beck. I thought he did a pretty solid job of just holding his own, presenting a legal guarding position, and Ojale forced his way through.
So just as I say that Jeray Foster was probably on the bench for the rest of the game, he checks back in. Shake Milton goes out, and Shemi Ojale adds to the Mustangs.
You know, SMU just took advantage of the mismatch.
Robinson for 3. That's off the mark to the right. Davis crashes the boards on the rebound, and that's going to go against him. At the same time, Andrew Walton, referee, is he's signaling that Ben Moore will be the shooter. Okay. So that's going to be it for Devin Davis. He fouls out, second of the Cougars to go out of the game, and Ben Moore will go to the line to shoot free throws.
Andrew Walton driving a car. He needs to change his tires because he is blowing his whistle a lot tonight. At some point, you have to let these young men play the game. I mean, obviously you have to officiate the game within the rule book, but to me, too many whistles.
So Bertrand Kali comes into the game as Devin Davis takes a seat on the bench, and Ben Moore will shoot free throws for the Mustangs.
Got 2 really good basketball teams just playing out, and a lot of this game here in the second half has been taken away by too many whistles and ticky-tack stuff.
playing devil's advocate with you just for a minute. It's a physical game. These two teams are playing physically, and it's a fine line between legally and calling it to the letter of the rule, right?
It is and it isn't. Houston's not that physical a basketball team. They're really not. And SMU, we know they don't foul people. So
Gray for three. Needed answer for the Cougars, and a timeout called. Well, Shemi Ojale has been the star of this second half for the SMU Mustangs for sure.
He is just a mismatch nightmare, and give Tim Jankovic and his teammates credit because they put him in spots where he can take advantage of not only his power and size on the perimeter, but his ability to put the ball on the floor and go by bigger guys on the outside and just power by smaller guys on the inside.
Ojale in the first half of this game had 4 points. And now he's up to 19.
Well, he's the classic forward of today's game where he's just too big and strong for the quicker, smaller guys. And he's just too agile. And he's a very good shooter from the perimeter. He just takes his time. He's always under control. He doesn't force the issue. I mean, the Tulane game, he had a dreadful shooting game in the last game out. Tonight he didn't come out with very much from the perimeter, but he found a way to get himself in the rhythm of the offense. And his teammates are very unselfish, and he's unselfish as well. They're always looking for the open man.
Right, minute to go, trailing by 5. SMU does what they do, basically. What does Houston do here?
Well, they've got to try to press. They've got to try to press and trap and force the issue here on SMU. And then as they get the ball over the half court, they have to just kind of read SMU and how they're attacking this pressure. And if they're comfortable in it, they're going to have to foul, try to extend the game.
Oh, right past Van Beck to Ojale on the inbound. And a foul. He anticipated, he almost got there. But the fastball went past him.
Kelvin Sampson's got to be shaking his head. They've had so many opportunities today, but just every time they kind of get close and get a sniff, something goes wrong. And mostly been because of this guy at the line. Shemi Ojale has made things happen and put the hurting on Houston.
They have not missed much from the free throw line today. 74% stripe. Timeout SMU with 58.3 to go. So the Mustangs, 19th ranked coming in, one of two teams that Joe Lunardi says at this point in the season are in the field for the NCAA tournament. A 6th seed currently, with the Cincinnati Bearcats being listed by our bracketologist as having a 5 seed.
Well, Boise State on the road is it's the worst RPI loss, but it's not a bad loss playing Boise State. We've seen they've had a very good season. And, earlier in the year, this SMU team, they went on the road to USC and Boise State, and then they came back to Dallas, and they were trying to find themselves. And certainly it's not bad to go on the road and lose to those teams. It's challenging, but they found out a lot about themselves out there. How to play defense, how they're going to not play without fouling. They're not going to get in a tug of war with people and try to out-physical them defensively. And then how to play without a point guard. And they've really adjusted very nicely with that. Just kind of point guard by committee. A lot of dribble handoffs. Everybody can handle, score, reverse it quickly, and then attack and try to take advantage of mismatches.
With just 6 guys playing, my question is this a team, as Gray pumps one up, that won't go? Did everything but fall by Van Beck. Will send Sterling Brown to the line. My question is for SMU, with just 6 guys playing at this point, is this a team built to go 3 games in 3 days in the conference tournament in Hartford?
Well, that remains to be seen. I think that could be an issue. There's no doubt about that. But the bigger picture being the NCAA tournament, I think they're going to be fine because you have that day off every other. You've got the longer timeouts in the tournament, and Tim Jankovic and his staff have done a really terrific job of just managing the season. And it's not easy because obviously you want to make sure that you're covering all the basics of the game and you don't have slippage as the season goes on. The coaches are always trying to make sure we go back to blocking out and we go back to our pick and roll coverage. But it's hard to do that because you can't get a good full scrimmage in. Number one, because you don't have the bodies. And number two, you're really frightened that something could happen. You know, you're an ankle turn away from a disaster, but they've done a nice job so far of managing the whole season.
Lost a player they were counting on for significant minutes earlier in the season when he left the program, playing basically with 6 all year. They did get Deshaun back, though he hasn't played in this game yet. He was out for a few with a concussion. Galen Robinson drives and will draw the foul. That'll be on Jere Foster. Did foul out of the game on that last whistle. Shake Milton coming back to the table as Foster has now fouled out. So 44.4 to go. And a reminder, number 5 Arizona at Washington from the Pacific Northwest is coming up next. SMU, talking about injuries and things like that, the schedule has fallen sort of in their favor, if you will. If you're a Mustang fan and you want to believe in everything coming together to make this a magical season, as you get a look at Foster, they get a week off this week. They get a bye in the midweek, so their next game is next Saturday when they travel up to Hartford to play the Connecticut Huskies at noon. It's a good time of year to have the full week off.
Well, obviously, you want to make sure that you stay sharp, and that's the thing with SMU. And after that just emotional win over Cincinnati, a great Cincinnati team, last Sunday they kind of took a step back against Tulane, but you know they're so competitive, as Tim Jankovic talked about to us earlier today. Came out of this gates today, Houston, a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. Sitting here for the week, waiting on SMU. You know, you had their game plan ready, everybody healthy, but they found a way, and they usually do. And they find a way to, you know, get a feel of how the game is being played, and then they find advantages where they have the advantage out there on the floor, and then attack.
Gets the free throws to go. 7-point ball game, inside 45 to go. And a quick foul by Kyle Meyer will send Ojale back to the line, shooting. And for this Houston team, their next game is against those same Connecticut Huskies. That's Wednesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. That'll be here. And they don't have an easy road the rest of the way as well, with still facing a trip to Memphis, to Cincinnati, before finishing up here against East Carolina to close out the regular season.
Well, as we've seen in college basketball, they're not out of this game yet with the three-pointer and all that's, we've seen the comebacks, and earlier today we saw Texas Tech find a way to get back and send the game into overtime against West Virginia. So there's a miss by Ojale, and they're going to just rush up the floor and try to get a quick three.
Robinson with 2. Tried to draw a foul. Nobody was biting.
Good play by Robinson, just attack. He's afraid to foul, just go all the way to the rim.
Meligo inbounds to Ben Moore. Dotson fouls him. So Moore will go to the line and shoot free throws. 10 of the last dozen SMU points from the charity stripe.
Houston's going to continue to foul and try to get one quick trap and then extend this game. SMU's got to get back and make Houston take a little bit more time. They can't score as easily as they did on the previous possession, just driving uncontested right to the rim.
Another one of those days, the contributions to the scoring line for the Mustangs. Ojale has 22, Ben Moore has 18. With Dotson with a rebound, looking for Gray outside. He'll duck inside and go for the circus shot. And Meyer will foul to stop the clock at 23.3.
We saw at SMU how they adjusted. Instead of running back and playing their man, they went back into the 1-3-1. What happened there is Houston just backed up and took another tough shot. Kelvin's not happy that Robinson took the shot and not Damian Dotson from the rim.
So that is that the 5th on Meyer? Is he done? So yet another one fouls out of the game. And free throws coming here for Houston. So I started to give the scoring line for the Mustangs today. Ojale with 22, most of those in the second half. Brown has 14, Moore has 18, Jere Foster has 10. Meligo with 8 and Shake Milton with just a pair.
Well, that's why SMU is so good. You mentioned it, just the balance. And not only balance in scoring, but how they get their points. They'll get it, they'll run an opportunity, they're very good in transition. But in the half, in their pick and roll game, they'll attack, they'll get to the free throw line, they'll find the open man, and they'll take their time and make you pay on defense.
Now we go all the way out defending. Ball tipped out of bounds to Shake Milton. It'll stay with Houston, but trailing by 10 with just 16 seconds to go in the game. Back out to Robinson. Short on, and that'll do it. SMU rallied from 13 down in this game. This game was tied at 51. Mustangs separated themselves from the Cougars to get a 10-point win. There's your finals, 76-66 for Tim Welsh, Alan Bestwick. So long from Houston out to Washington. Here's Dave Pash.